Well, welcome everyone. We're back in our weekly, actually, energy of the week, but this time we have an expert and an author of What is a Vortex. His name is Dennis Andres. He's been a friend of mine over 30 years. We both got here similar times, and we met in a very mysterious and funny way, in a sense, but we can talk about that another time. But first of all, I just want to show you this incredible book that he wrote, which is called What is a Vortex? I hope you can see it. And it's one of the best selling books in Sedona and all over the world. And I wanted you to tell us a little bit about what brought you to Sedona and why you feel that you wrote this book, and what do you feel you know about the vortexes and about the energy of Sedona after all these years that you've been here?
Well, first of all, it's nice to be on with both of you today. I've appreciated your talks and your videos.
Thank you.
My story begins in 1990. I was actually working abroad, literally on the opposite side of the planet from Sedona in Kazakhstan, when I was accepted to graduate school in Arizona. Now, I grew up in New York and New Jersey, and I called home to my folks. I spoke to my mother on the phone, and I told her I'd be flying in. I was going to eat all their food, do some laundry, and take the car and go. But my mother was interested about this in this place that I had never heard of before, Sedona, Arizona, and she said to me, Dennis, if I'll drive out there with you if you promise we can spend a day in Sedona. And so that was our deal. Just a day, of course, and no more, because I had to get to school. Well, I wasn't particularly excited to see this place. From my point of view, it was just an obstacle to the goal of getting to Phoenix. But when we got here, a couple of amazing things happened. First of all, we pulled over near a famous formation in Sedona, and I was just full of this urge to get out and run up the side of the Red Rocks. And that's what I did. In fact, I ran up the side of Bell Rock. And when I came back down, I was really surprised to find my mother standing by the car crying. And I was quite shocked. And I said, Mom, what the heck is the matter? And she said, I've never been so happy before in my life. Well, I was happy that she was pleased. And still, I thought, it feels like something's going on here in this place. And every place we went that day, a bookstore, some cafes, I would ask people, is there something going on here? And I found it amazing that everyone I spoke to instantly said, oh yeah, it's the vortexes. That was the first interesting thing. The second interesting thing was that nobody gave me the same explanation when I asked them what a vortex is. And that's when I made the vow that I would try to figure out what a vortex is and to write about it someday.
Well, thank you for that, because when I came too in '93, I had no idea what Sedona was about, but that's another story.
Right.
So what do you think a vortex is after you experience being 30 years?
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about how the concept has evolved over the years. We know that the first reports of people feeling energy in Sedona that we can document go all the way back to the early 20th century, when members of the Theosophical Society came to Sedona. This is a metaphysical group with a long history. It still exists in America today. People from that group came up to Sedona for a day and likewise said that they sensed energy here. Then we have a long period of nobody really talking about it, and that makes sense because Sedona didn't actually exist as an official city. It's only been a city for about 25 years now, legally. So a very small population over a long period of time. What really shifted was in the New Age period, beginning in the 1970s, particularly the late 1970s. I would say two people were most responsible for the interest. The first was Dick Sutphin, who at the time was a Californian leading workshops and taking people out on the land in search of what he called psychic energy. And the second was a woman named Paige Bryant, a channel, a medium, who lived here in Sedona for a few years and channeled the term vortexes, which is where this began. When I came to Sedona years ago, when you came, this is the environment we came into, this idea that vortexes were spots around Sedona. And that was the thinking that persisted for many years until pretty recently.
I agree, because me and Susan, and I'm sure Susan has a bunch of questions, we feel that the energy is everywhere of Sedona.
And so let's talk about that. What kinds of things people feel when they come to Sedona. And I can give you in short, let's just say people feel a whole bunch of things. But the most common things that people feel when they come to Sedona, particularly visitors, of which we have more than 2 million. So it's a perfect sort of a sociology test to see what people notice when they come here. The most common reactions are either emotional, such as what happened to my mother. People quite out of nowhere, quite unexpectedly coming, noticing the natural beauty, and just feeling like their heart is full, feeling overwhelmed with emotion. And then there are often people who have sort of a physical reaction. I didn't realize it at the time, but that urge to get out and run up the Red Rocks, which I still have a few decades later, that kind of physical reaction is something that happens to people. More commonly as a tingle sometimes for people as well. And finally, I would say there are also many, much more esoteric reactions that short-term visitors have, of having a premonition or having some sense of a message or a connection to someone on the other side, perhaps a past one that's passed on. In Sedona, we say that the veils are thin.
Yes, exactly.
Very good.
Trust me, I cried for the whole weekend when I got
Yes,
here. So
yes.
we're going to stop here, and we're going to come back to you with more questions in our segments to come, because this subject is so fast and it's so big, and we just really want to give you the right information. And but we do it a little bit at a time. So thank you for this one, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like our page, our video, and make notes on it and tell us exactly what you like about this. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Dennis, and thank you for Susan.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.